Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do virtual network peering between vNets and Azure. So what are you going to need? You're going to need an Azure account, available resource groups, and some vCPU in the region. A couple things to keep in mind before we get started is we got to make sure the CIDR notation when we create these VMs do not overlap. And why would you want to do this? Well, let's say that you've got an HR department and a sales department, and they want to be able to access each other's websites because they need to check, HR needs to check sales and for the sales department, and sales department needs to check their checks from the HR department or any ongoing activities that the HR department maybe has. So we created a website, or we will create a website on this VM with this address, and then we'll create something similar with this address. Again, the CIDR notation cannot overlap, otherwise the peering will not work. But I'll show you step by step how to do every single thing, and let's get started. Alright, so the very first thing you'll want to do is obviously go to portal.azure.com. Wait for that to load. We'll go ahead and go to resource groups, and if you can't find resource groups, you can always search for them. Should pop up. I'm going to go ahead and create a resource group called AzureDemo 1. We're going to go ahead and put that in EastUS. Awesome. Alright. Validation is passed. We'll go ahead and create it. And we'll go ahead and create the second one. We'll call it AzureDemo 2. And we're going to put this one in a different region. I want to put this in US West, or West US. Go ahead and create that. Awesome. Now we've got AzureDemo 1 and AzureDemo 2. We'll go ahead and go to AzureDemo 1. And for this one, I'm going to make it easy just so we can save some time. I'm going to go ahead and deploy this in through a PowerShell script. If you haven't seen my last video, go ahead and check that out if you want to know more about these scripts. But basically, I always do that. But basically, we're going to run the script. It's going to create the VM. While this is running, we'll go ahead and open up a new tab. Go to the second resource group, and for this one, we'll go ahead and create the AzureDemo 2. We'll go ahead and create the virtual machine manually while this one gets created through the script. Come back to virtual machines. We should see this one being created. If it's not, okay, it's not there yet, it hasn't populated, but we'll go ahead and create a virtual machine. And we will put it in AzureDemo 2. We'll call this one Demo VM2. It's in the correct thing. Let's see, I don't want to use the safe password. I'm going to use the one that I use from the script. Copy paste that in there. Okay, we're going to want to enable HTTP 80 because we're going to be testing the communication not only through pinging each other, but I also want to show you that we can go to each other's websites. So we're going to enable HTTP 80 and RDP 3389 so that we can RDP into it. Select next. Hit networking because we can leave these as defaults. That's fine. Premium SSD. Now here we're going to want to go to this virtual network, and we're going to want to change the IP address to .1, and then we'll create a subnet. Call it subnet A 10.1.0/24. All right, that's passed. We'll hit OK. And it's going to automatically select your new subnet. So the reason we're doing this is because with the PowerShell script, it should be allocating a 10.0.0.0/24 network CIDR addresses to the first resource group with the first VM. It's still running actually. Oh, it just finished. But we're going to want to go ahead and create this with a different one. Because they can't be overlapping CIDRs, and as you can see right here, it allocated that address, so we want to allocate this one separately, because if they overlap, they will not communicate. Everything else we can leave standard. We don't need load balancing or anything else. We can actually leave everything else pretty much standard, and we can just go ahead and go to review and create. It's going to warn you about RDP, but other than that, the validation is passed. Go ahead and create. All right, and we'll go ahead and refresh this. Go to AzureDemo resource group, AzureDemo 1. All right, so we should see our VM. We should be able to RDP in it at this point. While this one gets deployed, we'll go ahead and go into AzureDemo 1, which again, this is the one that we put in the first resource group, AzureDemo 1, Demo VM 1. Go ahead and connect RDP. Download the RDP file. It allocated a public IP, so we should be able to RDP. And you're going to want to use the credentials that we specified through the script. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Connect. Yes, do not ask me again. And while this deploys, let's go back and see if this VM's finished. It's still deploying. It might take a second. So I guess we can come back and see if we can run the script before. We've got to let this VM load. So I'm gonna come back while this VM loads and this VM gets deployed. I'll cut right back to it. All right, so the second demo VM2 finished launching, and the second AzureDemo 2 resource group, and the other one is fully running as well. I went ahead and downloaded the RDP file, and now I'm connected to both. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to Demo VM 1. We're going to go ahead and go to Add Role Features, and Roles and Features. Go to Next, Installation Type, Next, Next, and then down here we're going to enable Web Services IIS. Got to go Add Features. Hit Next, hit Next, hit Next, Next, and install. Now while this downloads and installs this feature, we're going to go ahead and, well actually I'll go ahead and show you. This is Demo VM 1. As you can see, this is 52, 255, 163, 84. And we're going to go ahead into our second demo VM. Go to CMD. Host name, just so you can see the name, Demo VM2, and we'll do the same thing. Hit next, 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 and as you can see here, the address 10.1.0.4, different CIDR, different subnet, but we'll do the same thing. Call it, yep, add this feature, hit next, 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 install. Alright, so this is going to take a second for both of them to install. So I might just cut back to it after it's done installing. Yeah, this one's still installing. So once it finishes, I'll cut back. Alright, as you guys can see, the installation on both machines finished. Installation succeeded on Demo VM 1. And you can test that by going to, by opening up an Internet Explorer and going to localhost. It might prompt me in a second for the security. It's just being a little, yep, okay. And we'll just go back to where we're going, localhost. As you can see, Internet Information Services is now running. And we'll go back to the second one just to double check. Same thing, it finished. And we'll open up an Internet Explorer page. Wait for this, okay. Local host, just to test it. All right, cool. So on the first one, on the first VM, we're going to go back to, and I'm going to open up a PowerShell command, and we're going to run this command right here. So what's this going to do? What do you think? Well, based off this, it's going to go to the path, create a Default.html file, and then we're going to create basically it's a markup saying this is the HR department on Demo VM 1. Go ahead and run that. Alright, so it should have created it, and we can actually check by going to folder, PC, go to the C drive, go to inetpub, wwwroot, and then if you open this up, it should say this is the HR department on demo VM1. Awesome, that's now a web page, right? And on the second VM, we'll run something similar. Oh, wrong PowerShell. Sorry. All right. So on this one, the only thing that's going to be different is it's going to say this is the sales department, right? Differentiating between two different departments. Go ahead and run that. All right. Awesome. Now we've got that. Now we'll go back to the portal. Actually click on either VM is fine. Go to virtual network subnet right here. Click on that. And then we'll go down to peerings right here. It's under settings. Go to add. Now here we're going to create a linking name. And here I'm just going to call it peering A. We're going to allow the default, and then allow default, and then we're going to say none, and then resource manager. The peering link name, we'll call it peering B, and then we'll go ahead and go down here to AzureDemo 2, because again this is AzureDemo 1 vnet, so we're going to select a peer it with Azure vnet 2. All right, everything else we can leave default. Hit add. Now it's created it. It's still not up, so we'll come back when it's up. It's still updating. All right, it came back up, so now it's saying connected. If you ever want to see it change, you just hit refresh, and then it should eventually say connected. All right, let's go back to virtual machines, and let's go to demo VM1. Here's our private address for demo VM1. All right, and the demo VM2 is this address. So we should be able to grab this address and then go into demo VM1, open up an Internet Explorer page. We should be able to just click it and then hit that. And if you want to see that it's actually the right one, we can always go to Default.html. Again, this is demo VM1, so this was the, I believe it was the HR department, and then the demo VM2 had the sales department, so on demo VM2, and that's why I put that there, just to make sure. We should be able to go to the second VM and do the same exact thing. So let's go back to that, hit Internet Explorer, and the difference was just this one cider block, and then default.html. Awesome. So now you've got these two networks that are peered essentially, and these two VMs that can now communicate. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you learned something. Thanks.